Greetings, mortals. I am Natus. The end of the week is here, so it's time that we talk about some manga chapters. And gotta be honest, this is probably has to be the most random selection of chapters I've been reacting to. Since usually there's some kind of connection, but this week it feels like it's pretty random, all things considered. But whatever. So, anyways, we'll start off with Shadow House Chapter 202, titled The Remaining Allies. I wouldn't really call the last person who joins in on this little group to be an ally, but all for redemption stories, all for the future chapters to react to, not this chapter. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off with Kate and Douglas discussing on why exactly he is not under brainwashing, because like everyone should be under brainwashing. I mean, if John is under brainwashing, then obviously Douglas should be as well. Which Doug, his face does say, oh, that's because Master Douglas doesn't like coffee because it's. But Douglas interrupts him because it's kind of embarrassing to say that he can't handle coffee, especially since, drinking coffee is kind of a sign of maturity, yet, and he's supposed to be like the one who wants to be, well, he wanted to be the one to be the next one to go to be an adult wing, or at least to become a star bearer, but now but in reality, he can't really drink coffee, which is kind of similar to Kate, because Kate, I think it was only in when they got put into the adult house where it was revealed that Kate doesn't actually like drinking coffee; she just prefers tea. So it's kind of a similar thing between her and Douglas. So yeah. But anyways, Douglas interrupts Doc and tells him that the real reason why he wasn't drinking the coffee is because he was doing his duties. Only all the star bearers who were slacking off were drinking coffee. Well, the star bearer who was performing his duties, needed to be away. Which, to be fair, I think I can't remember if we ever saw Barbara and the other star bearers drink coffee when they were giving it to the rest of the faces, to the dolls. But it does actually but I do think that kind of tracks with it, but whatever. It's just the reason why Doug is not being affected by it. So yeah, it was in Douglas asked Kate about like why didn't they got rid of the special coffee? I mean, didn't you guys know about it? And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, how did you guys get brainwashed? You should have been aware of that special coffee, so you shouldn't really be having any kind of issue with that. And Emilico and Kate states to Douglas that yes, she did knew about the brainwashing coffee and she did remove it, but I guess Anthony snuck it in and just gave it to Barbara to make the coffee and sympathy, and we are in this mess that we are in currently. So yeah, and then we have Douglas badmouthing Anthony and Christopher because obviously, which responds to them remembering that Emilico is still under the brainwash, so she would aggressively jump at Douglas, which, considering this is Emilico, it's kind of in a very goofy way, which is kind of like having like with spiky teeth, as then Doug just calms her down, like puts her on his back, like yay. Yes, Anthony's great. Yes, Christopher's great. That calms Emilico down because even brainwashed Emilico is a fucking idiot. Let's be honest ourselves. So then we have Kate pulling out the not the glass of water, the whole barrel worth of water, and she gives it to Emilico to drink until Emilico is basically bedridden for drinking too much. And to be fair, this is kind of done more comical and kind of relaxed, especially considering how this was done in the anime, where it was so dramatized, and with Kate even apologizing to Emilico before the brainwashing was even undone. But here it's kind of done briefly, which I think does make sense. It's not. I mean, we already know how this works, and to be fair, Kate does act about it like it's a very big thing. It's just kind of used more comically. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, as Emilico is recovering, Kate tells Anthony about, everything that's going on. Now, it's not clear if she also tells him about her soul being a human shadow doll hybrid, but she basically gives him the lowdown on Anthony and Christopher and generally the about things. So, but anyways, Kate Doug gives him the enough info, tells him generally about a lot of things as and Chris Douglas is first looking like he's a bit like shot and broken to the core, which he does state that when you really break it down, essentially everything that the truth of the matter is about the Shadow House basically means that their lives, everything they worked for, every backstab, every amount of suffering, everything of that sort was just kind of pointless, just a waste of time. So Douglas is at first looking a bit disheveled, but then he collects himself, I guess, and he kind of goes into a very kind of like Charlotte's reaction was like, wait a minute, this explains why I couldn't beat you in a battle of intelligence. You were setting your sights on the entire house while I was only at the starbearer position. So obviously the two of our interests were so different, and I won that there was no way I could honestly beat you. You were just cheating, you cheater. So it is again kind of a comical reaction from Douglas, but I think it does sort of make sense that Douglas at this point would sort of just accept it. Plus, I imagine it would just be kind of a waste of time if we had to go through multiple chapters with Douglas being too disheveled and all that. I mean, I'm sure there is some effects. Like I would not be surprised if this would be brought up back by a character, but for now, Douglas is sort of just like going a chill about and kind of going along with it since I mean, he probably figured it out as he was getting his brainwashing undone that all of this is like a lot of scheming and backstabbing, a lot of that type of stuff. So Douglas is sort of chill about, is kind of more chill about right now. And then and then Douglas turns to Doc and tells him to stop mimicking his face because what Douglas was doing with all of his reactions is the fact that Doc was still doing the mimic thing. Like when Douglas was crouching on the floor and throwing a fit, yeah, Doc was also doing the same thing. But since Douglas and Doc are two different people, it's really unnecessary. Like Doc can just act normal. Doc tells Douglas that he's actually very happy since like he doesn't really mind doing stuff like that. And they're probably also both on the same mind and everything of that sort. So Doug is fine about Master Douglas, and Douglas just tells him, "Don't be naive, dog. All you have, I'm no Master. I'm just your best friend forever." As then we have Doug being happy, and then Amelia chirps in and be like, "Yay! I want to know more about Doug as well," because Douglas also tells Doug that he wants to know more about him. But since Miko is still bedridden, she just sort of spits water on Doug. So back onto the bedroom with you. So yeah. Anyways, and then Doug and Kate discuss more about the brainwashing while Douglas and Kate discuss brainwashing while Douglas puts Kate and Miliko back to bed and all. As Kate wonders how did Doug manage to break free of the coffee on his own as quick without needing anything, even if there was a time limit. Like it's pretty clear that you don't that while you have to drink things on a time limit, it doesn't exactly mean that you after that time limit or that period of time before you have to retake the coffee or whatever. It's gonna necessarily mean that you're going to need to when you that time while there is definitely a time where you have to retake the drug basically or the brainwashing in the coffee, it doesn't exactly mean you immediately get back to your thoughts in the right mindset after you get it undone. Like just because characters missed a ceremony doesn't mean that they are going to be unbrainwashed the next day. There's a certain period of time. So how did Doc manage to get completely off his system and all that? As Doug tells them that it was probably because he had to think of a lot of unnecessary thoughts, aka he was so loyal to Douglas that him prioritizing making Douglas the master and everything to help him succeed that caused them to have more thoughts than he really should have. So it left to his brainwashing be able to be undone relatively quickly compared to how a lot of others would have their brainwashing be undone. I mean, he would still be under the effect, which is something that the beginning of Douglas does mention the fact that if they had drank the coffee, they would be under effect. But with Douglas, is more needing to do unnecessary thinking. He got it. He managed to do the remaining ones that they need to be refilled. So it's kind of like one of those things where he needs to take it again to be brainwashed because now he's completely fine. So yeah. Anyways, then Douglas and Kate talk about a bit more as then Douglas mentions the fact that he always found Anthony and Christopher kind of sus, if we'll be honest, or some a bit unnerving thing. So yeah, Douglas is just talking facts because like when you really break it down, the greatest generation or whatever, really, because how they're acting like now right now as adults, you really have to feel like they would be a bit suspicious, even as they were younger. Maybe not completely, but a bit off. So Douglas pointing out how sus they are, or at least how sus Anthony is and Christopher are, does make a lot of sense. So yeah, anyways, then uh, Douglas comforts Kate and he has an ally, but as he says that, Lou appears and she's backing up, but this time she's covered in scars. And Kate first focuses on the fact that Lou's here, so I figured like she should be in the hospital wing because she's in danger. Like she was literally in this weird Cronenbergian fusion with Louise, so it's dangerous for her to be outside and all that, and also to be not around her master at this time period. But whatever, she's up, and she tells her she will dedicate that she'll support and help Kate in her plans for Louise's sake. As then they focus on the scars that she has, which are basically just look like to be suit scars. Well, I don't know if I would really call them scars, but it seemed more like marks, in my opinion, caused by the suit that was infused with Louise and what Lou's body. And Lou tells them they're kind of signs of all the struggle and the success that they take, which is a very nice way to view it, although it is. Oh my god, these kids are gonna be so. This is like one of those series I really do have to question how the story's gonna end. Like, I mean, are the kids going to go back to their families, or are they gonna stay in the shadow house? They're just gonna live better lives or something there? Because, like, I mean, because like where the move's gonna go? They're all just going to disappear after the whole story ends. Because that'd be kind of very dark if they all just died. But like, if they don't, will they go with their parents, or they're just gonna have to stay in the shadow house for the rest of their lives without them being nearby or something? Like, it is definitely a bit of a interesting question to have, especially and the scars on Lou's body do again make you wonder, like, if she went back to her family, what kind of reaction would they have to that? I mean, I'm assuming the brainwashing is on everyone amongst the population, but still, it kind of raises a bunch of questions. But regardless, Louis is here, and Kate is very thankful because at first she thought she had no allies, no one, but no, she still has allies. She still has Don. She still has Douglas. She still has Lou. She also still has Ram and Shirley, but those dog are more iffy on their communication skills. So yeah, we have to see what they're gonna do with her, or how she'll get involved and help. And as they say, actually, did we see Shirley reunite with Ram after she went on that cart? I mean, probably she probably did reunite, but whatever. And then we have. Anyways, then we have someone knocking on Kate's door as Kate instructs Lou, Douglas, and Doc to go hide is somewhere else. I think they go into Kate's Starbearer's bathroom or something as Kate goes to answer. But we're expecting it to be the Anthony or Christopher to get like to break down the law or how things are gonna be moving forward, because like that's the thing. Kate responded, yes, she'll be Christopher's disciple, but like she doesn't really know what. But she can still. But so far, she doesn't really have any idea what he's planning on doing or what exactly she's supposed to accomplish. So Christopher's show. So Anthony's showing up to tell her what she needs to do for him now. Makes sense in Kate's mind, but regardless, it's pointless because the person who's actually outside the door once Kate enters isn't Anthony or Christopher or anyone coming to pick her up. It's actually Thomas, who apparently is still alive for some reason and is now has like a rag on top of his head, like probably to try to hide if someone looked down at him from the balcony or something, as he is now staring down at Kate. As Kate wonders what's the former children's wing. What was it? The title, like Child's Wings. Watch or watch. I can't remember what the title exactly is, but well, who's the caretaker? I think it's caretaker of the children's wing. Former caretaker of the children's wing doing here as Thomas looks down at her. Now there is some question about what is up with Thomas here because like the last time we saw him, his arm was cut off. He was on the floor trembling from pain and probably something else. As all of the third floor residents were there, as well as I think the entirety of Edward's group. So how would he manage to escape from that? So that's so how did he go from there to not standing here? Like you'd kind of think he would be immediately killed after that scene cut off. So why? No. Some people mentioned the fact that his eyes look really gray, so he might just be a corpse controlled by Joseph or someone that's being used for his purposes to communicate with Kay. But I feel like if someone from the third floor wanted to communicate with Kay, they would send someone else, especially since Thomas, I don't really think has a best connection between Kate and anyone, so he's got a weird one to use, but who knows, maybe he's just like so despondent that his eyes are so gray. They look that. Because remember, the author has, especially on the digital colors, the author has done a lot of like attempts to make like the eye color to pop out when there's something significant. Like a few chapters ago, with it happened with Doug when his brainwashing was completely done. His bright blue eyes became, there's a bigger effect on them to make them look even brighter than they usually than they are. So it's got maybe a similar thing with Thomas, where he's so desperate, so despondent, his eyes are now even grayer than they would be. But regardless, Thomas is here, and I'm assuming he's gonna become some kind of ally. Which I'm really kind of questioning what route we're going with Thomas here, because like, I'm sorry, but Thomas really isn't one of those guys who should be getting like his redemption arc. Like, of all the character adults, I don't really think he deserves one. I mean, Geralt and Ellie are kind of iffy as they are, but Thomas is, I would say, like, it's kind of similar if he's kind of the same level as Edward in a lot of sense when it comes to not deserving a redemption arc, in my opinion. So I really don't think he should be getting one, unless if it's like one of those things where it's like an enemy of my enemy. It is an enemy of your enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of deal. So I don't. So without, and he'll eventually get his own comeuppance later, which they technically did partially, but I don't. But you know what I mean, like still getting his punishment for the shit he's done. So I could definitely see him still being in trouble and we'll see what. But anyways, we'll have to wait and see where Thomas's story is gonna go forward. But right now, that's where the chapter ends, and yeah. That's it. Now we have This Time for Torture Princess, chapter 233, titled Torture 243. As we start this chapter off with Torture walking home, as she just met up with an old high school friend or college friend or whatever. She was meeting with them for after a long time, and she had a long talk with them. As Torture talks about what a nice meal she had for. She had, so she's going home, as then she passes a ramen ramen store, and she remembers that ramen store to be the one that Sakura-chan mentions a lot of times. But since she just had a balanced meal, it would probably, well, balanced dinner. She really shouldn't be going to eat more because that would just be eating too much and, doing the whole like little food jokes to make. So Torture resists the ramen incantations, and she even kind of mentions how this is kind of similar to how what she does in her torture sessions. Like, oh, you don't want to eat it? Fine, I guess I'll just have to eat this delicious dessert with this. It smells like this, it tastes like this. Oh, look at how nicely it got cut out by the fork. So it's kind of a similar thing. So it's kind of a similar thing here with. So it's kind of a similar thing here, but Torcho is able to resist that since she has more independence than the princess. Because if princess was there, she would definitely be wanting to go eat the ramen. But for now, Torcho is able to go on her way home. But then she encounters Sakura as they greet each other, and Sakura tells Torcho that she went to go eat her ramen. And Torcho says, "Yes, very good. Have a happy meal," because apparently it was Sakura's birthday, so Sakura apparently slept for a good chunk of it. So now for dinner, she's probably just planning on going to eat something else. Which, to be fair, I don't really think it's a smart idea for Sakura to sleep for half of the day and then expecting to go sleep at night. Especially if you're gonna start working next day, because like I have a friend who has like a really weird schedule when it comes to his sleeping, and he sleeps like throughout most of the days, but then he's never really awake during the day. He's always awake during the night, so it's like a whole mess by his system. So I'm not really certain if Sakura going is really gonna be falling asleep if she's gonna eat there and then go back home to for a bed or anything. But regardless, Torture just wants to like quickly go. Just wants to quickly leave the area because like if Sakura were to invite her and anything, she would definitely have to feel the necessity to go in as Dojo goes, and then Sakura just pops the question, "Hey, do you wanna go grab ramen together?" As that unexpected question, or not really unexpected question, more like she was hoping that Sakura wouldn't really say it, and she let her guard down because of it. Uh, Dojo she gets attacked by it, and he's like, I shouldn't," but after a little bit of looking at Sakura's expression and everything, she's like, yeah, and she does actually plan to tell Sakura, "Oh no, sorry, not today. We can go grab lunch another time." But then she sees Sakura's face, and she's like, "Oh, such a cute face." So she's like, "All right, fine, I'll go. Have you the talk." I'll go eat ramen with you, and yeah, Dojo submits for probably the first. I don't know. There was a chapter where Dojo, I think, submitted to the princess, but regardless, Sakura and Dojo have some ramen extra for dinner. So yeah, pretty okay. Chapter, nothing really special about it, but what can you expect from this time for Dojo Princess? So yeah. And now it's time that we go to 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you. Chapter 188 titled Rentao's Daily Life with Girlfriends. So it's gonna be a very a chapter with mostly just characters going on 2-page dates and stuff, which I mean I don't really have an issue with them. It's just that a lot of some of these chapters are very clear, like struggling to have a lot of ideas. Like I'm still convinced these chapters are just something that the author kind of got the idea of, but couldn't really place them into a chapter, so he just decides to like have these type of chapters where he can just include their drawings. Like I would not be surprised if the storyboarding for these chapters is just Nozawa Sensei. We just draw whatever you want with these girlfriends, and we'll write the story around that. And yeah. Anyways, the first date that we focus on is Matsuri's date, where Renta and Matsuri watching a movie, but unfortunately they didn't watch a movie that had like a lot of festivals and stuff. So Matsuri fell asleep, and then we have Renta wanting to put her to bed, and then when he looks at Matsuri, he kind of gets reminded of like those very beautiful like dress-up dolls, which to be fair does fit since Matsuri does have that kind of design. Well, her clothing is like very much like that those outfits that those types of toys wear. So yeah, and then while he's putting Matsuri to sleep, Matsuri wakes up, and then she just kind of is kind of embarrassed a bit, and then but then goes to a hug, and yeah, she has like a little cute little hug, which is kind of nice. And then we cut to Uta Day, which Uta. It's revealed in this chapter that Uta actually does things where she just randomly kisses Rento, like she just randomly like she's with Rento, and then she just goes for a kiss or stuff like this, which is kind of funny because she says the bot will do what she pleases. So yeah, it's one of those things, but it does kind of me wonder what kind of reaction the girlfriends have with when Uta does this stuff, because like all of them would kind of want to be kissed next as well. So it does make you kind of question on that type of mindset. Maybe Uta contains herself while everyone else is around, but does it after. I mean, Uta isn't exactly the same level of lust as like Hahai or Hakai or Momoha. But yeah, anyways, Renta wants to kind of tell her to stop doing that. It's kind of weird, but probably questionable about how consensual it is. But regardless, then we have Renta deciding to do a little trick on her when he has her experience how he feels when those cases come. So he randomly kisses her, as Uda's a bit embarrassed about it, and then it's like, Ender's like, oh, you see, that's how it feels to be kissed randomly. But then Uta in her best just kind of starts nudging into him, being like, and Ender's like, oh, sorry, which is cute to see. Like, Uda's like one of those characters who's constantly kind of compared to more of a tomboy and isn't really in those, like, he doesn't really do a lot of these, like, cutesy stuff. So it's not taking a chapter where she's doing something a lot more cuter, which again, I think is the reason why Nozawa Sensei just sort of just takes a pencil, starts drawing, and then like, oh, we can use this as a chapter in a story. Like this is the explanation why. Which can also explain why we reveal this chapter that Uta just randomly kisses Rentaro. Anyways, then we have a Hakari date, as Hakari wants to go on a Ferris wheel, which is actually something that's been mentioned a long time ago. Like, I think one of the first chapters, like when Nano, like I think after Nano got introduced, that's where this was mentioned for the first time. That that she that Hakari wants to have a date with Rento in a theme park, and she has it. At this time, they go on a Ferris wheel, as then Rento tells her, you do realize there are gonna be children on the Ferris wheel, so we really shouldn't be doing anything insane on there. As then Hakari wants to do her pretend maidenly act because she has like no self-awareness about how she normally acts. But regardless, they go on that Ferris wheel, and then she starts. I think they start kissing and hugging. As then Hakai Sky goes, okay, wait, I have to contain my urges. I'm not somehow. And then she does like a little jab at Kain, calling her like a. Basically, the most. Do you have no self awareness comment similar to like Kusuri called haha. Kusuri called Kish. Why am I blank on the name now? Kishiki, not Kishiki. What was it? Why am I? I can remember her name all the time, but for some reason I'm not blanking on it. And Kusuri told Kishiki. I don't think it was Kishiki. The baby fetish one. She tells her panty weather, referring to like wedding, but Kishiki was it Kishiki Kishimi? Well, she tells her that she tells her that even though is it Kishika? I think it's Kishika actually. She tells Kishika that, and Kishika responds that she has not that self-projection because he has never wet her panties, unlike Kusuri who needs to wear diapers. So yeah, it's kind of a similar thing here where she calls Karani here horny dog who is horny 24/7, that type of stuff. Which personally, I feel like it's more just Hakai's urge just wanting to have a threesome between her, Enta, and Khan, if you ask me. But that's just my reading of the situation. But regardless, Hakai wants to contain herself, which causes her to just start shaking and profuse, like, ah, blah, blah, blah. We've seen this kind of reaction a couple of times from Hakai and Hakai. Like, I think one time we've seen this was when they were playing hide and seek, and Kurumi was trying to sucking Hakai's boobs, and then after Kurumi got removed from Hakai, she was like shaking and profuse on the floor. So it's kind of a similar thing here with Hakai, just that this time she's standing up, and with Rentaro. But yeah. So yeah. Anyways, after that we didn't have a Yamame date where they go to movies and they walk home, as then Rentaro feels like he wants, yeah, gets a desire to like hold. Yaname and Haku, doing the whole romantic scenes in movies, which is kind of something Yaname may not be able to handle the best most because how she's very big, so it's not very, so there are not really that many places where that could come up perfectly. So while she's like sitting down on the bed, he goes for that, as then Yaname goes for a hug, but she puts Rentaro on on her knees a bit but how big she is, and them not being like not standing up. Basically, there's not those guys who stand up when they do that type of stuff because it kind of looks goofy. I think he says like it looks like he's being carried by her. Anyways, then we have an Usami date where we find out that we see Usami's room where she has like a bunch of bunnies, and she even hugs a bunny, and she kind of desire want, and she now thinks being lonely and wants to be with Renta. She's like, and she goes into like repeating her sentences, basically becoming a Pokemon. If you think we're being honest to ourselves, where she's like, "I want Rentaro to need me. I want Rentaro to need me. I want Rentaro to need me." Being very needy as she has proven herself to be. So she goes stalker mode, grabs a ladder, and goes to his house, which is possibly the first time that we've had a girlfriend at Rentaro's house. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, there might have been a chapter or two where Rentaro and a girlfriend were in their room, but I'm not entirely certain. Then, I mean, I think maybe Karane was in Rentaro's house. I mean, I can't exactly remember the chapter itself, since I think that was like 2 weeks ago, but I do think that Karane may have been in his room, but regardless, Usa is at his room, so she uses the ladder to get that, and she checks it through the window, and she sees that Renta is looking at the phone, and she's like, wait a minute, the reason why he's looking at his phone is probably because Renta is usually, because I usually would send him like 400 texts at this point of time, so he's probably worried about me because I haven't sent him 400 texts. And then Usa gets like the heart's shape, and she goes full rabbit mode now, and she's like, I love you, Rentaru! As Renta has a very happy expression, he's like, I love you too, which cued Renta was the child of the spirits, as that he was starting to feel like he's going to lose another one, but regardless, he and Usa are back together, so we're just gonna have to forget about the fact that she's literally grabbed the ladder and walked all the way to his house just so she could enter through the window, or just so she could look at it through the window. Oh my god, if we actually get a yandere or a yandere girlfriend, it's actually. Okay, I'm calling now. Once we get a yandere girlfriend, she and Usa will have this kind of moment. We are going to have a chapter where Usa and this yandere girlfriend are gonna go to Rento's place at the same time, and they're gonna be both together. I already can tell you that that's gonna happen. I wouldn't even be surprised if an officer tries to arrest them, but then Renta punches them to the floor, like, no, I won't arrest my girlfriend, so they try to stalk me. And then they're gonna have a happily ever after. I just predicted that chapters didn't die. Well, what can you do? Anyways, then after Usama date, we have a Tama date. Which I don't realize. Usama didn't really have a date as much as they were just kind of hanging out together. But anyways, we have a Tama date where we have Rentaro and Tama walking together as Rentaro spots a white cat as he looks at it and smiles at it. As Tama gets a bit jealous about this, as Tama's like, Rentaro, did you think that girl looks cute? As Rentaro thinks yes, but then Tama just starts to be all grumpy jelly on him. As Rento's like, oh shit, I just made her jealous, didn't I? Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, fuck. So, yeah, as in, Tama kind of wants to be like, no, no, no. As in, Rentaro is like, oh, do you want me to carry you home? As in, like, if meows assist. As then Rentaro apologizes for his for looking at a cat. And I said, no, sorry. So Tama is sorry for being a grumpy cat. So yeah, it's a bit of a cute reaction. It's a cute chapter for Tama. I would definitely say this one's my favorite. I mean, Usama is also very good, but this one's definitely my favorite. Then we have a Kusuri Day, which is just her um that which just two. I want to say just 2 pages or a page of that of Kusuri kissing and times like hmm, hmm. And then after the third or fourth one, she's actually getting kind of embarrassed by getting by kissing him so many times. So yeah, it's just a cute chapter to it. Kusuri. Then we have a Saki Day chapter, as we have Saki and Renta be in a theme park. And Saki's like, oh yes, aren't you happy that you're going on a date with your senpai, huh? Renta Kohai? As Renta is very happy about it, and then asks and then Saki says, "Wait, I should probably hug my cute little kohai." As she goes for a hug, and then Rento asks Saki if he can hug her back, and she asks Saki tells him, "Sure, your desperate little kohai wants you to hug your senpai." You can go all in at it as they go hug, and yeah, again, it's similar to Matsuri and Kusuri, which just keep them with Kusuri just Saki just being cute. Then we have our Rain Day chapter where we have Rento at the audience stand listen to our music. Thank God no other girlfriend is there because otherwise half the stadium is gonna be filled by them. Oh my God! When you realize the fact that whenever the performer, whenever Himeko and Rei are gonna be performing, now essentially her eyes basically going to rent out the entire half of a good percentage of the stadium for the entire half for the entire family, especially when they get kids. Oh my God! Okay. Actually, here's a good question: how many children would every single girlfriend have? I mean, Kalani's family is really big. So, I mean, they have a few cousins and all that, but so Kalani probably would get at least 3. Kishika, I think, also has 4 siblings, I believe. There are a few who I think have said or been shown to have 2 siblings. Well, then we also have some who haven't really had any delve if they have multiple children, more siblings. I mean, we know Karan. Okay, we know that Hakai and Kusuri are only children, and we can probably deduce at this point that some others were only children. I think your mom doesn't have has been said not have a sibling, or has been pretty clearly proven that she doesn't have siblings. I don't know. So I have to go back to check to see what the family structure looks like, even though those lakes are mostly just fans using statements. But I mean, Suzuka also doesn't have siblings. Well, I believe it's the fact that Suzuka doesn't have siblings, unless if she's a divorced child. But from what we know of, some of them are single children, while others have multiple children. So we have to. So we'll probably be. So I will not be surprised if at least 100 is how many. We'll probably have more than 100 children when Rentaro starts populating the population, when it starts to have fun with the girls in that way, which would technically be when Kichi and Matsui are going to be of age because those two would be underage otherwise. But I think it's like giving birth to a child, that's actually allowed as long as it's like consensual, and it's not actually weird if you're like 16. So I think 8 years they have to wait until they'll be able to do stuff like that. But whatever. I mean, to be fair, Yaku doesn't plan on having children with Rento, at least what we know of. But whatever. Anyways, then we get to the final date, which is a Himeko day, which is just the 2 of them playing some sports activities. as Rentaro beats Himeko in a lot of events, as he says, "Oh, that's probably because I'm a guy, so I can probably perform these games a lot better than, like, let's say, Himeko," which is logical explanation and a common sense explanation. As Himeko is kind of, it's like, well, like, weird enough, like the previous date with Himeko's kind of really normal on her dates. So she's just like, I hate losing, but if it's with you, Renta, I don't really mind losing as much. As they embrace each other. There's some speculation that maybe there was a deal that if Imeko beats Renta, she'll be able to have a hug, and this time she wants to get a hug. Anyways, but Renta would hug his girlfriend, so they just randomly ask him all the time. The only reason why he commented about Uta is because she was randomly kissing him at times. But regardless, Himeko and Rento have a day where it's just kind of there. Honestly, I kind of feel like Tama or Usa's chapter should be kind of the final ones. Those feel like the most impactful. Or Rin's date. Actually, I forgot to mention this about Rin's date. When Rentaro finished when Rin's show got over and they're walking home, Rentaro started crying his tears over how beautiful it was, and then Rin made tell her that she was concentrating all of her music towards him. So he started crying so much that he actually started shooting laser beams of water to the point that one burglar who stole the girl's purse got shot by his water works because he directed towards him. So yeah, he got obliterated as Rin was like, Molto! Violento, but I think she just uses Molto in this one. So yeah, Rento is confirmed he is a strong enough human being. Oh, the hell is gonna be crazy when he gets 100. Honestly, between Rento and Kuran and a bunch of others, the girlfriends, how strong is Rento's family in terms of power scaling? Because, like, you have really weak ones like Suzuku and Saki who would be beaten if you do this. But you have others like Kuran who's rumored to be breaking walls, and she probably can't break walls. So, yeah. So now we go head off to Four Knights of the Apocalypse, chapter 161, titled A Strange Reunion. I wouldn't really say a strange reunion, more of a off reunion, but whatever. Since we don't get a reunion right now, we get a reunion a little bit later with everyone. But anyways, we first get an explanation of what is up with, well, not what's up, but more like the lives that Tantris, Tristan, and Isolde have right now. As the basic concept is, Isolde is right now some kind of, well, seems to be a very, I want to say a weak maiden sort of deal where she and Tantris Tristan are living together, so kind of a fantasy sort of setting similar to like Jericho was kind of being promised and whatnot, which might actually be kind of a foreshadowing that the futures that people get are kind of like twisted in a sense, because Isolde here is very different, is quite opposite to what Isolde's life usually is. And in fact, I'm thinking this time it also has like things in her eyes that kind of make her look like the goddess eyes, but regardless of that little detail, Isolde being taken to where they live, and well, being helped to be taken where they live as Tristan heals her wounds. Although I think he uses some kind of, I don't know if he uses his magic. I think he uses some kind of healing flower because Isolde comments on it. So it's possible that Tristan doesn't even have memories that he's half goddess and has goddess magic and whatnot. We'll get into it a little bit later, but so to say, it wasn't a translation issue. Tristan is referred to now as Tantris. As they live in a cave, and Tantris tells Isolde that don't worry, the cauldron is going to start soon. So once it starts, actually, I think there is actually, I think, fireworks in the air that signals that the tournament's gonna start soon. So that's what he uses as a basis. So he tells her, "Don't worry, I'll go into this cauldron. I will get us off here. I will ask for a cure for you, and then we will be able to leave and all that." Basically, what the promise is. So he tells Isola that as Isola is starting to feel a lot of pain in her. And it's like one of those weird anime illnesses where you have no idea. Is it like an internal digestion? Is it like a mental thing? Like Isola holds her head and starts to be screaming in pain, but it's unclear what exactly if this is also some kind of physical damage or something. But regardless, Tantra just tells her to go, just stay down there and you stay here, stay safe, and you'll be fine. Because, like, there's a lot of those beasts roaming around and she cannot defend herself because it's all in this state. It seems to be very incapable of combat. Like, previously she was able to use the love bombs and the mace and all that, but now she's just your generic uh, fairy tales minor princess character who probably doesn't have a name kind of figure, where she's not really able to fight or do anything. So Trisha Tantra just also to stay there. There's like they live like this. I'm not sure this is like a place that's meant to hide her. This is the place where they live because it kind of seems small. I mean, plus probably fine in some sense, but probably more meant to be more for her protection and safety, with her just being in this like small little cave, as there's like this like that's this little rock or something to like hide her beneath it, or cloak or something that's just so she doesn't, no one. So if someone looks at the cave, they don't see her. It's kind of like a very nice disguise thing to like not make it clear she's there. So just Tantra just tells her to stay here and be safe while he goes into Cauldron and wins. So anyways, while he goes there, he also spots the giant boat that Gawain's family is using as they arrive in the Cauldron, with the character saying, "Oh, we'll stick out if we stay here, so we should probably go hide that." With Gawain telling her grandparents that to go and hide this. We'll meet up later. As her grandparents wish her the best of luck, as they are preparing to depart. Which is kind of funny to think that the fact that apparently that Kine and the grandparents as well as Dobbs are just gonna be sitting in here the whole time. Are just gonna be in this ship hiding somewhere, be like, "Alright, I read today's newspaper. What the hell? What's going on? Ah, made the culture, I see. So, how are the kids? They went to go into it. Alright, good. I do hope they stay safe, but whatever. Uh, Wait a minute, isn't an extremely dangerous Chaos Knight in charge of this thing? Yes. Oh, I hope they're strong enough to protect her. So it's kind of funny to think that's what's going to be happening now when all the shit is going on, but whatever. So as the Percival Splatoon are departing, we have Gawain using teleportation for her, Donnie, Anne, and Nazians to get down because they are alright. Technically speaking, you could say Donnie could get them down, could use his telekinesis to get them down, and Nonsense can fly down, but it's easier if they just use teleportation. Percival doesn't get affected by it because Percival's actually Percival. I guess going now, the Percival doesn't need it. That the least of all of them. So Percival's just kind of so they just tell Percival to calm down because Percival was actually distracted during the initial jumping down with Tristan being there. So Percival just jumps off towards Tristan as the captains are like, "Oh wait, why are you so jumping so quickly?" As Percival was immediately next to Tristan as Percival reunites, and he's like, "Oh, great to see you, Tristan. I do apologize for leaving and all." As the other captains also spot Tristan as they come in to approach him and like, "Hey, stay in contact with your family was so worried," and all that type of stuff. The generic, whenever captains reunite kind of speech. But then Tantras reveals to them that, "Who are you people? I don't know who Tristan is. Stupid name, but I have no idea who Tristan is." As the captain's a bit bamboozled by this, which now makes me question on what exactly happened between everyone. Like, I was on the impression that they were all that Tristan's platoon got beaten by Beltropa and probably won the World Lane as well. maybe the entire group of four evils, it would kind of make sense. Dantress Trishan fights Beltrope, Wolde fights Gawain, Xion fights Ironside, Isolde fights Spellgod. Actually, I just don't realize how perfect those matchups are. And they all got beaten, so maybe they would be, messing up, but Gawain probably would be able to weasel herself to her father instead of anything into the cauldron, but now it kind of seems to imply that's not what happened. It kind of Gawain doesn't really directly say anything, but it kind of looks like they got split in between. They got split during the being in Camelot, and then they just sort of, and then she just got information that Tristan was captured in the and sent to the cauldron, and his platoon was sent to the cauldron. Like, maybe they entered, Gawain met up with her father, and her father just sort of saw some of the more dangerous Chaos Knights and was like, it'll be for the best, you cannot beat them. We are going home. So maybe he just dragged her home or something, while Christian was being unreasonable and just went to attack. I mean, he did seem to be very, devastated. In fact, the first page of this chapter, we can't see the immediate after effect where Christian, like, when Percival went this part where he just grabbed the sword and kind of looked at him with anger and left. So, yeah. But now there seems to be applying that there was no idea what was going on with them. But regardless, we'll have to wait for the explanation. As Strichen explains that he's not them, he doesn't know it. And also, while they're talking about it, I am kind of curious on, is Percival alright? Because, Percival seems really chill about it. Like, because, like, Percival comes and says, oh yeah, sorry about leaving you with a blade, but hey, it's fine, everything. Like, it kind of feels weird how chill Percival is. Like, Percival's never been the most emotionally mature, but he kind of had like the basic sense of emotion. Like he had he felt guilt when he needed to feel guilt. He was curious when he was curious, but now he's kind of chill about it, like kind of too chill. I don't know. Maybe the author is going for that whole too cool for school kind of thing, where characters like Lancelot and Shanks have, where they are basically, just the chillest dude over everything to make them like super like cool like very stereotypically cool. So maybe that's what the author is going for. But I don't know. Personally, seems oddly chill in my opinion. Maybe I'm just paranoid or nothing, but it just feels off how chill Percival is in this chapter. But yeah, anyways, they still kind of don't understand what is going on with them bring up Isolde. Where are they? Where's Isolde and Chen too? You're also friends with him. And like I don't know, like I don't know, we're acting this way because of the fact that no one outside of Isolde really got your humor. So you're just making a joke here with us not getting that because we're not Isolde. As then Tristan gets pissed off at them because they act as if they know him and everything, but he doesn't know them. They also call him Tristan, which he isn't named that, and he finds the name actually stupid. So he just the boss also tells them that Isolde doesn't have any friends or family outside of him, so there's no way you guys would know her unless it's like the same some person girl with the same name as this Tristan. I must just have us go with the same name, nothing else. So, and yeah, there's also no mentioning of Kion, which is kind of interesting because like we don't see him in this chapter as well. At least not what I think is him. I mean, maybe he appears because like we have at the end of the chapter we have a lot of like characters that are just there for the tournament. That those characters that you need to go up against the main characters before they have to start infighting, and like in the Saturday Sins where you had like the original the five no, actually I think that was when they just got kings where the three sins. Then you had two no wait, four sins. I forgot the arm was also there. Four sins, two holy knights, and two Chaos Knights, and two regular competitors. So just there for the tournament, like some old guy that many of us knew, and some guy who's in all of these tournaments. So, well, maybe Chion was in one of those panels, but so far we don't know if he's them or where exactly. In fact, he doesn't. That just doesn't even know reference Chion, which is kind of fitting. Kind of ironic. He doesn't even say, "I have no idea who this Chion Kion is." All I know is that I am not him, and I do wish that you guys meet him, but I just have this tournament to go to. If you're here to watch it, it's in that direction. If you're gonna copy it, I guess this makes us rivals. Goodbye. And he just leaves. So yeah. Anyways, then characters are kind of shocked by this, and weird out by this, and question what the heck is going on. And then they kind of are like, wait a minute, is this really Tristan? Are we saying we're not just confusing him with some kind of long lost brother or something? Which this is anime and manga, this is definitely impossible. Pretty sure the fairy tale did something like that at some point. Not don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there was stories that had like some weird explanation with where captors got connected or something. But regardless, the captors are kind of weird out by this. But then like, alright, he's definitely not lying because because Anne's ability didn't activate. So whatever he said was 100% true to him. Kind of a same loophole as Galant's ability, where if what he says is true, he will be able to do it without turning to stone, even if it's false. So he needs to himself be aware. So it's like a similar thing with Tristan's memory being changed and erased and whatnot not made him believe everything that he's saying is 100% true. So he really doesn't know any of them. And then Gawain tells us that's definitely him. That's definitely the man we're looking for because he has the piece of the coffin on his back, and his. I think, but I think they even. I think Percival I don't know if Gawain mentions his magic or if Percival, but because Percival also says, yes, that's definitely him because just look at his soul spirit, he can tell that's the same guy. So they are definitely the same. They don't know what's going on, but they have to figure out on board. So for now, they're just going to the cauldron because they were planning to go to the cauldron anyway, or to the battle arena anyway. So they're just kind of following him. Which they do decide to just kind of, I guess, keep a bit more of a distance between them, so they will not be weird. But regardless, they just go behind him, and Stench is kind of like, those are some weird people. But it doesn't matter because he has to win. So yeah. He doesn't really comment that I'm following him, but he did tell them in which direction they have to go, so they will have to go in the same direction anyway. It's kind of like one of those awkward things where it's like, you don't really want to go in the same together at all, but you're going the same direction anyway, so you might as well just go into the same. So you pretty much are going together. So yeah. And then now makes me wonder what is going on here and how exactly things unfold. But I'm assuming we will get an explanation later. I imagine that after the arc is resolved, or after Tristan gets his memory, Tristan, Isolde, and probably and most likely Khan as well get their memories back. We'll get like explanation of what happened, like how did they split, how did everything happen? Because Gawain seems to be completely in the dark as well, making me think that she left to be with her father before Tristan and everyone got themselves in trouble and went to the cauldron. Unless if Gawain got knocked out and it was immediately given to her father before she reawoken, but then why didn't they change her memory if she did get captured? But regardless, she is. But regardless, we have to wait a couple of chapters, probably an entire arc, before we get that explained. As then we got to where the gathering area for the tournament, or I'm going to assume is the battle royale because based on the spoilers for the next chapter, it does seem like that first part of the competition is going to be a battle royale to like get a lot of the father characters out. As then we have with Beltrop and another Chaos Knight. Maybe he's gonna be like the main guy. They're gonna be defeating this arc, so Beltrop doesn't get embarrassed as well. But it does feel like Nakama wants Beltrop to be the strongest of the four evils, but we have to wait and see for that a bit later how that unfolds. So yeah, but anyways, Betropa says, "Oh, looks like the challenges they say are very promising for this competition," and they're like, "Oh, whoever's gonna win is gonna join us and go and win us to the upper ranks and all that." So he's very happy about. Then we see like a bunch of random challengers. Like uh we see like two guys who the back of two guys that has with cloaks. So maybe one of them is Kaya, but we don't know. Then we have a helmeted guy, which I guess makes it sound like seems like some holy knights are also still there. Which, considering the two guys that we see in the spoilers in the next chapter, that might be a case where there are chaos knights. Maybe the chaos knights are meant more there to be there as like also to be some actual competition for characters to fight in. Like this isn't just like father fighting against father. It's strong fighting against father. So amongst the father, the strongest will be the only ones that will remain. So maybe it's something like that. As then we also have like two cloaked individuals who have like only parts of their face shown. Not sure who these two are. They kind of remind me of some other characters like Tantra, not Tantris. If was it Fantas Tatius? Yeah, Tatius. I think that's was the name the sorceress, but I'm not entirely sure that's the same. But I'm not certain. I don't think that she would be there, especially since it wouldn't make very much sense. But she's there with some guy with some character who resembles her with and some guy with a mustache are there. Then we have some random bandits or some, just some guys who are there just to be beaten up. So we have them all being there. As then we got to the final page of the chapter where we have Bill Chopper being like, "Oh, let's enjoy the event." So yeah, Bill Chopper's there with this guy who's kind of like a giant, who's honestly a pretty big armored guy who's like I guess his personal assistant. Okay, he's like I guess bodyguard, but we don't really know what he is. But regardless, he's there with him. So I'm guessing this guy's gonna be they're gonna be the one they'll have to defeat for symbolically and all that. So yeah, they are present. They are gonna be enjoying the battle royale portion of the event. Anyways, after 4 nights, we have One Piece chapter 1125 titled "What Death Means." So I guess we can finally get an answer to some of the questions about Vegapunk's life and death that we've been having. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off with the Marines mostly like regrouping and kind of getting back to on their feet. With some of the Marines be like, "All right, charge after the Seraphans are charged. We'll be take them and depart." Which is kind of weird. The fact apparently that Seraphans need to be charged, but whatever. I'm assuming that's gonna be something that's gonna be taken to marine facilities, or maybe that's gonna be like one of the first things that you're gonna have to do, so they will not have to worry about Seraphans being low on power. But whatever. We have them being loaded, as well as the PX zero, the PX freeze also being loaded and ready to depart, probably so they could be taken to measure, so they could be fixed and prepared for the next fight. As then we have some of the Rob Lucci and Kaku going back to a ship. As some of the CPI agents guys who probably with them on the and asking like where's Lucy, as in Rob Lucci just also that he killed her because she ran away. He's probably kept her as well, at least to something. He probably. It's just interesting that he said that he killed her, which makes me think that Kaku did tell him that she let her go. So this time he just decided to just go with full. We killed her. That's it. That nothing else happened. So yeah, as then we have as then after that we then cut to the vice admirals talking with Saturn, who are apologizing for their failure and asking if they can go to Albath to prevent them, which to stop them and get their payback to reclaim their honor for their humiliating defeat. Although at this point I feel like it would probably be the best if you send even more marine battleships than just you guys. I mean, just saying, most of you guys are probably already down some of your manpower, so it probably make more sense to send more than just you nine. But whatever, these guys feel a bit bad, feel shame and humiliated about their loss. But Saturn just tells them that it's not an issue. They got what they need. They needed York, they got her. They needed the technology, they got it. The only real loss that they take that's actually worth knowing is the fact that Vegapunk's message got sent out to the world, but that's not that they can't really do anything about that. So they have to respond to that in a different way. As then as then we get like a little flashback with Saturn when we actually get a bit of the thought process behind MF being there and talk about it. Because remember, it was saying I think like when the fight between Saturn really commenced, and before the other ghosts showed up, that Saturn was like the giant robot was after the 200 years ago that the giant robot was climbing Mojra and all that, and then he was stopped. He was meant to have been destroyed, so why didn't they? And they were like, oh, the researchers must have hidden him from me. Actually, now I'm thinking about this, might have to have been when there's all the ghosts that were already active, but or already on the field. But regardless, the researchers must have deceived Saturn while they had actually preserved them. But we find out in this chapter that it's not that the other researchers preserved them; they were ordered to destroy them. They were about to go into destroying them, but Saturn saw the potential of this giant robot to be used in the future and all that for their military power. So he was like, you know what? We'll say you destroyed it, but in reality you just kept it so you could research it to create a new weapon for us. So that so yeah, Saturn is the reason why the giant robot is still there instead of being destroyed and melted to scrap iron. Kind of ironic how the guy who constantly spent the entire chapter and the entire act saying how humans should just do what they're told, and the other guy couldn't keep his own words and did what he shouldn't have. So yeah, we all know what's gonna. So you can probably guess what's gonna happen pretty soon. So Saturn. So Saturn is the reason why MF's still around. As then after that, the reminiscence from Saturn, Doberman, one of the vice admirals that we actually knew before this arc. Well, actually, I think the only vice admiral we knew before this arc, who kind of raises his finger and well, his hands like, all right, just to be clear, I'm asking you this just out of general curiosity. I'm a loyal soldier. I'm a loyal servant. I will not do to anything worse. I'm just kind of curious about something. If you said the failure of keeping Vegapunk's speech from being broadcast is the only problem here, does that mean that speech was actually true? So everything he said is true and we should act accordingly? I mean, not going against anything, it's just I'm kind of curious if we should be starting to prepare for mass evacuation of islands, especially the ones on the lower they are. You know, just kind of seems something we should know about. As Saturn doesn't even respond, he just wants to kill Doran for daring to question the logical question. But yeah, anyways, to blow some ends, they are starting to scream at the medical team to come and help Doberman because he's very like while Doberman is strong enough to handle the attack, he's definitely I mean we're talking about an attack that blew up the heads of regular Marine soldiers. It's not like it would do anything to our vice. Well, it wouldn't. Well, alright. It's very close to killing Doberman as well, but Doberman still has a chance of surviving, so we have to wait and see until the next big Vice Admiral meeting to see if Doberman is still alive or not. But anyways, Doman gets punished for asking a reasonable question. As then we cut to the egg into the egg stratum, as we have that machine for island clouds starting to work again, as it's starting to like fill it up to send a part of the labo phase up in the air. As York notices that, and she quickly puts a bit together. Oh no, Asin did not fully die when he was being disconnected. He must have had enough energy to come here and start messing with the plant so he could send this thing in the air. Damn you, Asin! And she fires him to prevent him to take everything, just kind of portion of it. The weather machine as well as I think the main kind of labo phase, the ones with all the information. I mean, she will still be able to connect to it, but it's going to be a limited access now with only York being able to do it. So so Allison is unable to do that because York just responds with that like bazooka that she's been carrying around since she was freed by Mars. So yeah, she at least prevents everything from being taken. Not so that she destroys the body of Allison that was talking with Stu. That was the one that was super damaged, the one that should have just died at the bottom of the labo phase. But regardless, yeah, she stops it from being taken, and probably the next report is gonna mention something on the lines of, "Do not worry, I prevented Asin from taking the entire thing, and I will still be able to connect with the thing. The only thing that was really lost was the Iron Clouds." Iron Cloud, but she could probably recreate that one. I am not entirely sure if the Iron Cloud would be that difficult to recreate or anything. But yeah, anyways, then we got to Marijua when we have a bunch of like world nobles again reminding us all how awful and despicable they are. Like you have like one noble's like pissed off. I want a beef, so why did you bring me fish? As a staffer is like, oh, sorry, Saint. It's just that you see, with the recent shortage of the food that we have, I couldn't make you. We didn't have enough beef to make it for you, so we saw I needed to replace it with fish. As then Giant's so pissed off that he just decided to shoot him and kill him, and then we get some other celestial dragons being off as like acting horrible and all that, and we're gonna start starving if we don't have enough. If we don't get this food shortage under control. I mean, I need to skip my night snack. Oh my god! Will I be enjoying like some petless little peasants in the, basically what the slash dragons are always complaining about and acting like, oh my god, yeah, we're suffering. Which, I see a lot of people saying how the slash dragons might have some very sad backstory, but no. Whatever sad backstory the celestial dragons are gonna have, it's gonna make you feel even worse for those celestial dragons, because we see what kind of trash their descendants have become. Their descendants have become these scumbags. So whatever the backstory is gonna be, I'm gonna feel 10 times sad for those celestial dragons than I'm going to feel anything for these dumbasses. I mean, I don't even understand what the heck these guys are doing at this point. Are they even gonna, play anything? Oh my god, I'm just now imagining the final chapters of the story where all the celestial dragons are thrown in prisons and then just complaining about, like, I guess they'll actually see what suffering is like. I guess they'll definitely be like, oh, okay, maybe I could eat fish instead of beef, even though I wanted beef. So yeah, I am definitely wondering what kind of punishment these dumbasses are gonna have. But anyways, down to the actual slash round that matter, and not just annoying pieces of trash. As we cut to the room of the authority, as we have Garling showing up in it in a fancy Gorosei suit, as the rest of the Gorosei are like, Garling, what the heck are you doing here, you brat? We don't remember calling for you. As Garling tells them that I got new orders from the top. It's like, wait, what? And yeah, as Garling basically here, he just sits down and tells, I am the new celestial god of technology and defense. I'll be taking York under my wing, and now we need to start planning for the future, because the mess that we are in can sure be very annoying. It's gonna be really difficult to deal with. As we get we get the rest of the world Gosei realizing, oh shit, and we get a shot of Jupiter, which, if you know the theory that Jupiter is a traitor, yeah, I feel like this could plan of him being the one to be the most concerned about the replacement does kind of make sense. But anyways, then we cut back to Saturn's ship as he starts dying. He's like, ah! As he starts to evaporate, as the vice admiral's like, oh, what is going on, Saturn? Do you need something? Is there something we have to do for you? Because they have no idea what the heck is going on. I mean, even we have no idea what the fuck is going on. All we know is that it has something to do with him and the powers he gives to Gorosei. So Saturn's like, no, Ian, please forgive me. I didn't. As Eam is basically punishing Sutton for all of his failures and everything he's done. Like, I imagine that Eam could, like, put the two pieces together, be like, the giant robot that was helping Joy Boy that attacked Marisha 200 years ago, that was supposed to be destroyed, and you somehow managed to get deceived? I don't think so, Saturn. So, and okay, technically, Im has like this very indulgent, as is like a really weird voice because it's like supposed to be monstrous yet also. Okay, let me try to do better. You think I'm gonna bear the shift spiders? No, Satan, you have failed me. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the anime, even whose voice is mostly just robot, it was probably just used AI or something. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to get like a real inhumanoid voice. Honestly, to me, Im's voice did sound like. Honestly, Im's voice kind of gives me Bell vibes, where they have her like speak female yet also male from time to time. But whatever. So Im is sort of very pissed off and punishes Saturn by taking away the powers, which even leads to a bit of an explosion which sends the Vice Admirals away as it reduces Saturn to nothing more than a skeleton. So yeah, if the goals fail Im, they are dead. So yeah, anyways, after that we did also one important thing to mention is that Saturn did say im. So the vice admirals are aware of that, but they're probably not gonna be allowed to speak about it. Although I could see some of the vice admirals say ending up joining Sword after this, especially like Dora. I feel like I would not be surprised if Dora ends up joining Sword after this to this, but whatever. We just have them reacting to the whole thing. Whatever, we just have them hear the name, and then we'll probably have one of them telling the rest of the moons about this. But I imagine it's gonna be kept mostly to the down low, especially since Blackbeard, uh, because it's very heavily implied, pretty much confirmed almost that Karina Devon wanted to take Saturn's appearance, so she was probably like. So the only way that could be very useful if knowing the Marines knows that Saturn was replaced, so we'll have to see on how that goes. But whatever, Saturn is that, and we're probably not going to see him until we see all of the until we see until Blackbeard uses his schemes. Kind of disappointed that he died before he got a cover volume, but whatever. It's then funny once you remember the fact that one of the before the current volume release, him being on a volume cover was actually planned, but then it was just scrapped for a happy flashback with Kuma. So yeah, it kind of makes sense, but still kind of funny. So yeah, anyways, then we cut back to the labo phase on the one part on the half where Edison flew off, as we see that all of the Vegapunk satellites that haven't been destroyed are actually alive. So this is what Lilith was referring to. She said that them dying and being alive is actually not the same thing. So it's a real. So it's basically like all of them was sent to like one body, or maybe they were all sent into like this room where they have like a bunch of replacement parts. Like we see York's torso and legs, Atlas, Lilith's face. I think we see like Shaka's limbs. We see like a bunch of random proportions. As then we have one. It's kind of embarrassing how exactly because like it seems like they can be in one form because we have them all fused to. Well, they have to all be in one form. So I'm not entirely certain if this means that they have to not be stuck like this, or maybe it's like a thing where they can all send themselves to one single body, and those replacement parts can be replaced that way. I think it was Asin said now that I think about it. Whatever. We revealed that after their bodies got destroyed, that maybe the real Asin just replaced his body. Maybe just replaced the body before he died or something. He has actually put himself. Has grabbed random parts of them, the ones that were destroyed, and just put them into one body. So he like grabbed Shaka's torso and legs, and then put Pythagoras' arms and Atlas's arms with Pythagoras' jetpack and Addison's hat. So it's got like a weird Frankenstein program combination. As they're kind of discussing about how they will not be able to, how they're gonna have to be keeping themselves on the down low, how they're out of sight of the reach of everyone, so it's gonna take them a while. Shaka says it's gonna take them 500 years before they'll be able to reach their island, although I feel like he's being a bit down, insulting, especially once we remember Lilith's there. But to be fair, it does seem like the Vegapunks have more lower expectation, or at least a lower appreciation of Lilith, because of the fact they needed several times before they managed to. Like, they literally needed to figure out that it was York who was backstabbing them until they were like, uh, until they were like, oh yeah, it was Lilith. All right, sorry, Lilith. So yeah, it's kind of funny, but anyways, they are. So maybe he's not expecting Lilith to be able to make a device that would be able to reach them. Or maybe it's gonna take up Mi's referring to Lilith not being able to communicate with them. I'm not like it's certain what he's planning, especially if they are going to be in communication with the other island clones, because we have them immediately contacting the with the area. I think that's what the place was called where Nami was sent, and them contacted one of the wizards there as he gets explained as that being explained to them that Vegapunk stylized that, but we are not here for something. I don't know. It's kind of very vague because all we have is like the wizard that was with Nami telling him, "I thought you were that," and then saying, "Oh no, we're not." They're also discussing about throwing away York's body parts because they are just kind of creepy and probably kind of insulting the fact the person that's caused their deaths is right there. They can always use them, so they just throw them down, which yeah, it's gonna lead to some which I mean I don't know if they're gonna throw it into if they're just gonna throw these body parts somewhere else or if they are going to just destroy them normally. But it's just let's just say it's gonna be quite interesting to see what is gonna happen to those body parts. Especially after Tekken told me like maybe a farmer is gonna these byproducts are gonna fall on a farmer and something, not on him but like near him. So who knows? Maybe that the farmer is gonna end up being some kind of super scientist that's gonna program York's bypass to work on the farm, and then when York is destroyed, she gets sent to that farm, and then she's like gonna be forced to work there on farm day in and day out or something. Who knows really? But yeah, anyways, after the satellites communicate with area, we then call to the revolutionaries. So just like writing all the information they got from the speech down. Like, all right, the world is gonna sink. All right, the one who gets the One Piece is going to get some kind of way to control the world. All right, we should probably get it. Yes. As then we have Dragon looking east as all of his officers are like communicating this at this point. I feel like all this just actively mocking us with all this nonsense, but whatever. Dragon is then just staring at the ocean. Is like, yeah, Vegapunk, what you reveal caused a really big incident. Some will do good, but most are probably gonna use their own selfish desires to cause chaos and havoc and wanna survive themselves. So things are not going good, which makes me think that maybe Dragon's finally going to move something since, I mean, it's kind of on me. Like, it's kind of funny to think, like, Dragon's like that one character who is, like, being mean about doing nothing. I mean, granted, it is kind of true. After, like, Shanks at least has been doing stuff somewhat throughout the story, but even now, Dragon's kind of kept unknown, doesn't really do stuff, but I feel like we might be getting things soon. I mean, I imagine like one of the gods kind of is going to have to get involved too as well. Which actually looking back at it, it's kind of funny how gods kind of build up and kind of introduce like this oh shit group, and now their leader and most likely strongest member is already replacing one of that has already replaced the Gorosei member, while they are just kind of still mostly unknown. But what can you do? I honestly I'm not really surprised the gods now. Honestly I'm kind of just confused by the gods now what their purpose in the story is gonna be. Probably just some bad guys for the revolutionaries and sword and charge to beat it during the portion of the story. But yeah, anyways, now with One Piece out of the way, it's time to talk about the final chapter of the week with Chain Soldier chapter 139 titled The Unmu Agency. I guess they talk about it, but feels like we should be waiting a bit longer before we get this kind of chapter. When we actually get more of a explanation, more of a showing to us what this fucking place does. But whatever. We start this chapter off with Naum being kind of nervous and kind of panicking since she was the one that was introducing us to the whole dark side of the agency and the one that was kind of the first. Like it's not really clear if she was the first. I would definitely say she wasn't the first, but it's kind of like she's kind of the one that's the most traumatized, also, but also the one that's like the best to give information. So she's kind of panicking, but Coco's there to like calm her as they want to explain to what exactly happened about the human experimentation. As they get like notes explains to them everything, but they also get like every document given to them on paper so they can read it for themselves if they want to check something. As then we get to some of their reactions, not all of them, but quite a few with Ren revealing finally that she did knew about the human experimentation. She did know the fact they are humanoid hybrids, so they are being dissected and experimented upon by Unmo Agency and all that, which is something that was kind of kept ambiguous, but now it's confirmed that she did knew about it. And in doing this, we also get a confirmation that the other government officials obviously gonna know about it as well. No surprise about that because that's usually how things go in these kind of facilities. But we know for the fact, but now we just have it confirmed that they are all aware of this. Well, except for the captains themselves. We'll get into that later, but yeah. Anyways, they reveal that information, and then we get to like Azu's reaction to the thing, and she does recognize Naompa because she's a fucking model, and she does like one side that she did the fun. Okay, I'm kind of confused. This is supposed to refer to when she was transformed. Or this is just supposed to be another ancient incident where she uh, got teleported into the Mato, but I think like it's kind of difficult to say, but it seems to be implied that Azu found Naon, took her to the facilities, and then got no contact afterwards. Where she does want to apologize, kind of hug to like help, but Tenka, knowing Azu, is kind of like leave your lustful desires at home. We now have to focus on this. Which Azu is kind of hurt by because she was actually gonna be like a normal person about this. Like she was just legitimately feeling sorry, feeling bad, wanting to comfort her. So it is kind of ironic that the one time when she's serious, like one time she's actually taking the situation seriously, since Azu's pretty consistently shown to like not be faking about the situation seriously. It's kind of like how in the last couple of meetings she was constantly like, "Wait a minute, all the chiefs are gonna be sugar fall? Me, all of them are gonna be butters naked." I know. I should have a one on two naked spa conversation with those two. Yes, those conversations are gonna be very useful. Ironically, Shinoku would probably approve of that conversation. But whatever, Azu has been shown to be like that, so they assume that she's being lost for as well in this one. But she says that she's not, which is that's kind of insulted by which do we think is like Azu is mostly used as comedy, but honestly, I feel like the only reason why even the audience having her reacting this way is probably more to show the seriousness of the situation. So yeah. Anyways, after all this, then this Kuno Kuni person comes up and says, "Yes, we did experiment on this. Yes, we did do all this. Yes, we did keep it undercover. No one except us ran." And honestly, I don't think we need to know the fact the government officials know as well. And yes, we did do this, and we experimented on them. We didn't really knew how to heal them because of different structures, so we couldn't help them in that sense. So we just sort of left them. We didn't. It was our intention about harming them too much and all that. As then Tubera chirps in and tells her, fine, I didn't get any information on this, since she probably was going to get. She probably should get information, but since Ran does get the information. As then Rand kind of says, "Oh, that's because you don't get along with the government," which pisses off Tubera. Which, remember, the reason why Tubera mentioned in the last chapter that every time the government tries to do something with Mato, it always backfires, and they have to clean up the mess. So Tubera has a reason why she doesn't want to get along with this. And I feel like this sort of is going to affect the election a bit, because one thing you'll notice in doing the whole speech, the government officials actually do get a bit calmer. Like, yes, Rand is gonna explain everything, and everything's gonna be fine. All the control is still gonna be controlled. Like, it is a bit shocking that we got this explanation and revealed to the rest of the captains, but everything is gonna be fine. So yeah. Anyways, then they go back to the story as they explain that after a few of these hybrids were escaping, they decided to take a more leisurely, more kind treatment, more polite treatment, more reasonable treatment with them actually. I'm assuming probably at least given allowed to recover because the way they it was stated in the I think fourth volume when we first found about this stuff was stated something like they were cut and wounded all over their uh, bodies, and they just didn't even stop. So it's like one of those things where it's like after the escape of the three, they sort of decide to calm down about it, which Tenka does agree in. She does have evidence from the people who were freed after their initial escape, and information she got that they did start with better treatment, which I'll get into this after this initial discussion, but let's just have my thoughts about this review that they did start treating these the hybrids nicer. What I'm gonna focus now is the fact they stated there were three escapees, as we see also three figures escape. The reason I'm pointing this out is because the three that escape, Uaba isn't one of them. Uaba was found after. She was rampaging underground when she met up with all of the other Shukai, and while we know no one saved Coco, and I think it was also stated that no one was saving a couple of others, it, this implies that these three who escape initially are not the same ones, or at least not the ones that we've seen. Maybe it's just Naon, Coco, and that one that's supposed to be anti-cursed one. Although it's kind of implied that that one was someone they just encountered randomly. But regardless of that, I would know that they mentioned three, and we do see three silhouettes escaping. Namely because we know the gods of thunder know about the hybrids, but we never knew how they figured out that. So I will not be surprised if it's revealed at some point that these three hybrids are gonna be characters that work for the thunder gods later on in the story. It's not clear now, but I could see this being kind of revealed at some point. Like maybe they're gonna be like Naohime's elite god or something. We don't know yet, but I would note that there are three shokai that we have no idea which ones who they are, but three hybrids that we don't know who they are, and they've escaped. So far, it doesn't seem like those are the known and Coco and the other ones, but we have to wait and see. It could just be a random thing, but it could also be a thing that's gonna be revealed later, or characters that are gonna be introduced later in the story. So yeah, anyways, they after this three escapes as well as Noah and everyone else, they decide to be nicer with it, but they still did a lot of things that are. But in nicer, it's basically like we let them recover naturally. Is kind of the way they explain it. Because then we have, I think Mera was the one who kind of is very emotional and very like pissed off about this revelation. And she's like, you didn't even give them contact with their families. You just had them locked up in those in your rooms, and you didn't even allow them to call them. I mean, whoever killed you to at least tell them because of something that happened in Mato, you're unable to come home. You know, there are ways you could keep it vague if you want to keep that secret from the general public, right? So, yeah. As then they also talk about like this being kept hidden, as Rand does like some, you know, your generic politician speech where you say something but it's essentially just empty words, or it's like non-answers. Just look at any kind of meeting with Kamala or Biden where they just go into like a bunch of random dribble that has barely anything to do with the question or the subject at hand. Just supposed to be like some answer that's supposed to satisfy you, but not. One of those kind of would just give you the idea of where Rand answered with saying that only she as the commander should really hold this burden. Which is ironic because Tobera was just pissed off at the fact that it was kept was just commenting about how she didn't get any information off, with the only explanation being because, she doesn't get along with the government, which government has an issue with, has been being a failure when made to, according to Tobera at least. Which does actually make the first chief happy, Kokimaru, I think Kohiro or something. I think it was something on K. That's all I remember about it. She's not really the most memorable one, in my opinion. But regardless, she's kind of satisfied by this. And, and she's like, chill, but oh, alright, this makes sense. You want to hold the burn, that's why you didn't reveal to us and all that. Now, I don't know if this really means that she's gonna side with, like, a lot of people were commenting that Kohima, the first chief, wouldn't really wanna rock the boat too much, so she would vote for Rand because, not to make things so extreme. But here I do have to feel like she will question the elder because she is the vice. The old lady is her vice commander. It's also like she's more experienced. I do feel like she would question her about in her wisdom, which we find out her wisdom says Tiberia was better to be a chief between her and Rand. So yeah, and then we get to explain there was a bunch of other experiments as well as like something like apparently they have some labs on the islands in the human world that they are experimenting on that were kept hidden. Rand makes a comment about like, oh, once after the deal with the gods, we'll be able to get the answers more straightforward. Which I am actually kind of curious on what kind of answers Shinoko will say because she did say she was gonna predict. She's pretty guessing what questions they're gonna have for her, so she has to prepare the answers. But it does kind of make me wonder what she will say because I don't know why, but for some reason I imagine the gods, while they may be immortal, I don't think a lot of them are really old. Maybe Taiko is old, but the vibe I'm kind of getting for all of these gods of thunder is like they're probably more equivalent to, like, they are way younger than many of the characters here. It's just they all look about the same age, just as the cast. So we have to wait. And also Rand's trying to get it more encouraged by everyone to, you see, another reason why we need to work with gods. Because we can get answers to things like this, so we'll be able to help them. You see why we need this deal with the gods? So yeah, Rand is trying to get in and yeah. So after this statement uh, about the about the experiment, we kind of move on to a new topic, which is just kind of mentioned they're gonna be moving on to something else as then they end the conversation. And now I have to kind of comment about my little issue when it comes to this chapter. And that's the revelation about the armor agents is kind of underwhelming. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the human experimentation is not awful and all that. I do understand why that would kind of be on its own be a really good like argument against armor agency and all that. It's just the way they kind of talked about it, the way they were referring to it, and the way they were kind of building it up made it feel like there was gonna be a lot more than just human experimentation. They gave them no contact and treated them horribly. Like, it just kind of feels underwhelming, especially with the revelation that they did treat them nicer after their escape, with Tenka even confirming it. So it's like one of those things where it's like, really? I mean, I like this. Is my issue with the Chain Soldier for the last couple of chapters, where it's like we spent a lot of chapters building up, a lot of panels setting stuff up, only for them to be the reveal. It's oh yeah, it's nothing. Valvera's power isn't working properly. Oh, is it perhaps Armor Agency capturing Tanka to you, and they did something to make sure that Kyoka doesn't become too powerful to handle? So they try to sabotage one of her strongest allies? No, it's just that she overused her powers and need an excuse for some fan service with Yuki. Oh, Tanka's acting all suspicious and off. What is going on there? Oh no, Tenka just doesn't want to interact due to the fact that she might be under uh, uh, surveillance. You get what I mean? Like we have a lot of and we have you get what I mean? Like, we have like a lot of chapters where we are setting things up only for the actual reveals to just be kind of underwhelming. Tanka just didn't want to be doing her normal shtick because she's under surveillance. And same is here. Like we spent a lot of chapters building up to Armor Agency's evil deeds, and yet it's sort of like not shown to be as pure evil as it was shown previously, as well as it kind of being it. I mean, granted, it's the first day, so it's possible that there is some kind of ace up their sleeve about Onmo agency that even Onmo agency cannot defend. They just didn't want to reveal it on the first day for in case of if there's a way they can prepare on the next couple of days. So maybe it's like one of those they want to wait until the last second to reveal this information. But so far there's no reveal. Like we're gonna have to wait and see on the future. I'm assuming it's gonna be the next couple of chapters, but again I have to wait and see on exactly what's going to be revealed. So yeah, I'm kind of supporting on this, and I'm kind of worried about it. Are we also gonna be doing this with with tank off red flags and red flags? Like, are those also gonna be very underwhelming? Are we not even going to have Rand's arrogance being brought down to the floor and Tanka being, not killed, because some of the people like to imagine whenever you bring up death or red flags, this is like, oh no, this isn't coming to kill, so Captain's I'm going to die. But I'm just like, I'm not saying death, I'm just mean like Tanka being out of the story for a while. Tanka not being able to be the sixth chief. I mean, like just her being on the run and needing to keep a down low with Himine taking over as the sixth chief. Stuff like that. I don't mean death. It's just like, basic storytelling. So I am concerned we're not even going to be getting that much from the characters, but whatever, we're gonna have to see. Maybe it's also meant to be like a bit more a shocker. Like we got like a lot of these building up to something that could be very dark and very dangerous and very stake heavy, but then revealed it's nothing. Maybe it's like a thing where these two reveals are gonna be like supposed to be very big on stakes and like bring a lot more this time. So are we going to get any kind of are these red flags even gonna come into play? Are they? I don't know. I'm just kind of really concerned that we're not going to have this. Because remember, despite this story being mainly for fan service and cute girls doing cute stuff, this isn't a slice of life manga. At the end of the day, there's still action. At the end of the day, there's still fights. There is still antagonists. There is still world-threatening stuff. So regardless of how much the main point is, naked women for us to jerk off, we do still at the end of the day this story still has to be written like any other action story. So regardless of how much the main focus on naked women, we do still need this action to be there for a reason. Same goes for Gods of Thunder. They do still need to show the dangerous threat that can destroy the heroes. And it's only plot armor that's keeping the heroes standing and winning at the end. But we have to wait and see how this all turns out until to know. So yeah. But anyways, then we then jump to end of this first day as we decide that it is decided Tanka, Naon, and Goku are gonna be sharing a room together because they were not planning on two extra people being there. As then we have all of the characters kind of departing, as the old lady is kind of as Kyoko's kind of looking at Mira, as Mira's kind of very pissed off about this revelation of this being kept away from her because she seems to be very affected by this. And Fubuki also kind of seems to be taken aback by this, and is kind of more like curious about things. As the old lady states that even this was a dangerous play, Kyoko, because even a small stone can cause a big ripple, which is referring to like while these things may not have been like the big oh shit things like completely changed like last second revelation that changes the entire outcome, it can cause a bit more of a stir, a bit more of a reason not to vote against Ran. I could kind of see this be like a revelation. It's like Fubuki and Kuno are kind of asking for more counsel from Toberia and the old lady. I could see Mira kind of going against it because like one thing you have to remember is I think like, this was the reason why in the last chapter we had Tobera stating that the government and Meito have become more and more separate due to how to handle the situation and why it's not really a good idea to leave the government in control of this stuff. Is to kind of set up the fact that mindset of all these government agents is gonna be of these everyone there is gonna be different. Like while Ran and the other two officials think, oh yes, everything was cleaned. We managed that revelation about the humanoid experimentation was a little bit of a of shock and a little bit of concern, but Ren with her managed to use her politician skills to completely calm the situation. And then they come to the election day, and then Ren loses, and the captain's gonna be like, how? Why would you? As they explained, you guys needed them escaping to realize you have to give them that you have to treat them with human rights. You are literally forbidding them from even contacting their families. Would you even inform anyone if they died, or would you just burn their bodies if they died from your experimentations? Like, I could totally see something like that, as well as like maybe there's some. Again, I would not be surprised if there are some other aces they have up their sleeve. They're just not using them right now because it's literally the first day. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that side. It seems like Mio and Fubuki seem to be like two that are most affected, as though it's still kind of a wild card. I could totally see this being like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you said nice words, but we don't. But the fact that we needed this to be a shocking reveal dropped on us isn't exactly isn't exactly encouraging us. Who knows what else you're gonna keep down until something that's even more awful than this, and then you decide to keep it to yourself. So we have to wait and see on that how this is gonna affect everything. And it does seem like Tanka is kind of going for that because because next we have like Tanka and Ran talking in the bathhouse, obviously. As then Tanka seems to be still very confident. But anyways, back to the fan service spot with Ran and Tanka. As Ran kind of wants to like put Tanka back in her place, sort of deal. It's like that revelation was very shocking, quite surprising, honestly. Were you keeping those two in your room to reveal them, or did you just use your power to summon them? As Tanka just chill about it, and everyone kind of wants to threaten Tanka back into her place. I can forgive you for your little attempt to bite my hand, but be careful, I will. Doing her classic state because like Ran isn't not threatened by anyone, so like that Ran doesn't have any concept of losing. In fact, we kind of get our first like idea of someone not being done by her in this chapter because Tanka is just like because Ran also questions Tanka's motive for wanting to side with Kyoka as much as she does. As Tanka just is not taking any of Ran's shit, and she just tells her, "Oh, I did it for love," referring to her love for Yuki and the fact that one of his sister is the hybrid. So obviously explain that, but Ran doesn't know that, and he's kind of confused and probably also confused because like it's been a while, but it was there that in modern society, in Chain Soldier, it's actually looked down upon, or at the very least, it's uncommon for women to legitimately love their male partners because it's a misandrous dystopia basically. So it's like men are not valued in any way. It's just kind of like just entertainment. So in this sense, Ren being told that Tenka is doing this for love aka Yuki is kind of confusing. Like, wait, someone loves males? And she's also kind of confused. Probably also the fact that Tenka just kind of laughed with, a smile and a grin, just like, well, that's why I did it. So, anyways, we'll do this in the next one. So, bye. Because again, Tenka is really chill, which is actually what makes her like a lot more threatening than Kyoka. Because Kyoka very much carries her emotions on sleeves. She doesn't she doesn't really play the game. She doesn't really keep her motives and everything hidden. So it's kind of easy to get what she's at. While Tenka's kind of all over the place. Like, is Tenka actually intimidated? Is she actually legitimately chill? Does she have some kind of ace up her sleeve? All those information they don't know because it's Tenka. So yeah, Tenka just leaves and Ran's a bit confused. As then we get to the end of the chapter with Belle and Ran. I'm guessing sharing a room together for fan service reasons. As then we have them in bat. As Belle is like, "Oh, I was so shocked when when the initial reviews, but I'm happy that you managed to calm everything down." As Kyo Ryan's, while she was a bit confused about Tanka's words, she's actually going back to her arrogant personality. It's like, yeah, it was a bit of a shocker, but it's nothing. As the next Prime Minister, it is no concern to me. The only thing that makes me wonder is, could I not handle... Actually, no, I think Ren says, as the until I leave the spot to become the next prime minister, no one is gonna have a chance to become the next commander in chief. Although, here's a question: could I perhaps hold both the Meito commander in chief position as well as the prime minister? Haha. Be very arrogant, but that kind of gets Bell a bit nervous. Which has caused a lot of people to suspect that Bell might betray Ran, or maybe Bell is like, yeah, I don't think so. Which I could always see this because remember, when Bell defeated or killed, or however you want to say, Ryren, kind of made a comment about his arrogance. Like, yes, you are big and you are powerful, but in your hubris, you let your guard down, and that's why you're dying and being defeated now. So Bell is well aware of how people like Ran can be defeated, which I could see Bell saying to the statement, like Ran be like, "How could you betray me?" As in Bell's like, "In our last fight against one of the Thunder Gods, he was a big, powerful enemy. Simply put, as if I wasn't simply put, if I were if that the Thunder God that Valvera faced didn't reveal how to get me out, if I didn't have my ability to survive, if I was just left at at the seventh HQ, we would have definitely died. The seventh and the ninth, it was yeah, the seventh and ninth would no wait, I think it's the 78. The 78 would have died. There's no debate, no argument. We can you cannot argue. If you think that is not what the outcome would be, you are delusional. Just straight up, you're delusional. That's how close. That's how guaranteed our defeat was. But luckily, I was freed. I managed, thanks to his hubris and Yuki's in my slave form with Yuki, we managed to get a drop on him, and I was able to use my ability fully and kill him. And I'm concerned, Ran, that you have too much arrogance, the same as he did, that so much that you will leave your guard down for an easy kill. Right now, you're on top, but if you are not careful, one wrong step could end up anything. The consequences could be too much for you. So I do not want to risk you being too high up your own for anyone to take advantage of and losing. That's why I cannot have you be commander in chief until we are in the state of peace. So I could totally see like this kind of moment with Belle because that's kind of the phase that she's kind of giving us here, where she's kind of growing concern about Duran's arrogance. But like she has first-hand experience about being someone, so that's definitely a good reason for her to doubt Duran, being concerned about Duran being so confident and arrogant. But yeah, that's the end of the chapter, and we have to wait to see what's going to happen next. And I'm kind of disappointing chapter to end it off on, honestly, because it's not really like I'm kind of disappointed with the Almo agency reveal. I kind of get the idea of things that are gonna be in the future, but I also kind of wanted to pay out for those things. So it's a very concerning chapter of aspects, but we have to wait and see on where the story's gonna go from this point onward. Especially since I kind of don't feel like we're gonna have a bunch of chapters which is gonna be like one thing that's not really that gonna go into like more details or more dark or anything, and then just a couple of panels with the girls being naked in the spa and then end until like the day of the election comes. But anyways, we're gonna have to wait and see on how long this is gonna be. So anyways, I hope you like this video. I hope you leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future. And with that said, I can't wait to see all of you mortals next time. Goodbye.